Lying on your back in Shavasana. Just beginning by checking in as you let your body drop in this shape of Shavasana. And beginning to note what is, to see into your experience. And just kind of getting a snapshot of where you are and how your body rests on the floor. You might sense into the two sides of your body. Notice if they feel different. Notice if the outer edge of one foot is closer to the ground than the other side. So noticing if the knees are orienting at the same angle or if one is more pointing out to the side than the other. Sensing your thighs and if one feels heavier or even kind of thicker than the other, maybe more muscular. This is all very subtle potentially. So if you're not able to sense any difference, you're not doing anything wrong. And bringing awareness up to your hips, the two sides of the pelvis. Does one side feel heavier than the other? Maybe one hip is more kind of hitched up than the other. Bring your awareness up to your lower back. Does one side of the lower back sit a little closer to the ground than the other or feel more open than the other side? Just noticing any asymmetries in your body with kind attention, acknowledging your signature shape rather than something to push away. And then just kind of zooming out to sense your whole body. And the river of breath. We'll begin our movement inquiry with our SI release, a little heel reach. So legs are relatively heavy here. They're staying straight, they're staying on the ground. And you can drive one heel, push one heel away from you, and actually slide the back of that leg away from you. So toes point up at this point, reaching, 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 and then letting that leg go entirely. And same thing, other side, driving through the heel. You can pull your toes back toward your knee as you actually slide the back of the leg away from you. You might like to hold at the end range for a moment and then let that go completely and continue to alternate here on your own. Now noticing the movement more in the hips and the resultant movement in your lower spine, little side bend. And then just let the legs relax for a moment when you finish that one. And interlace your hands underneath your head. So head is heavy, arms are heavy, arms are on the ground or as close to the ground as your shape, your body, and gravity will allow. So continue with that leg reach and add a reach to the elbow, same side elbow in opposite direction. So as you slide your left leg away from you, slide the left elbow back behind you. So we're taking a side bend here to the right. You can feel the whole left side lengthening. And then relaxing the leg, sliding heavy head and hands back to center, and then over to the other side. Push through the heel, stretch the elbow opposite. You can let the breath just breathe you, or you can coordinate movement with breath coming into the stretch on the inhale, and then exhale to transition back to center. So you can feel and encourage the opening, the elongation through the belly fibers, through the abdominal wall. And let's add a little internal rotation of the reaching leg. So the inner thigh kind of spins down toward the ground between the legs. The result is that the toes will turn in, but it's not coming from the foot, it's coming from the inner thigh. After your second side, whenever that is for you, you can release your arms down by your sides. And let's plant both feet about hips width apart, whatever's comfortable here. We'll keep the left leg as it is, straighten the right leg, and roughly with the thighs parallel, so we're not going for some big stretch here. So thighs are parallel, turn the right toes out, relax the right foot, relax the right toes, relax the whole right leg as much as you can. So there's just some engagement in order to keep the leg there, but you don't have to squeeze or anything. And then we're gonna take about 20 seconds to lower this leg down. Whenever the leg touches down, let go some more, just heavy through the thigh, heavy through the leg bones. And then again, same side, right leg, about mid-height, the foot's relaxed. We're externally rotating the leg here, and then slowly lowering the leg. So this is a release for the psoas. The psoas connects to the inner, we'll say inner top right thigh, all the way to the lower spine, top of the lower spine, top of lumbar spine. So telling you this so you can maybe get some kind of visual, and the visualization is this muscle elongating as you lower slowly. Once the leg is down, whenever that is for you, you don't need to be at my pace. You could just take a moment, notice the breath. And then one more time, this right leg about mid-height. Relaxed as much as can be. Inner external rotation, so inner thigh rotating outward. This time, when you get pretty close to the floor, like almost to the floor, we're gonna pause. So when the leg is just about ½ inch off the ground, take a moment and just be there. Notice what's engaged, what's working. And then go back up a little bit, any amount, don't have to be overly technique oriented here. And then again, slowly lowering down. This time we'll go all the way down. Visualizing the lengthening of your iliopsoas muscle, the psoas, is lengthening through the abdominal wall, through the right side of your belly. Whenever the leg is down, let's just slide the other leg straight too, so both legs are straight. Notice maybe a little shift in sensation. And now plant both feet again. Comfortably apart, about hip width. Now right leg stays where it is. We extend or straighten the left leg about mid-height, so roughly thighs parallel. Externally rotating, so turning the inner thigh out, foot is relaxed. We're using minimal effort here and slowly lowering the leg, about 20-30 seconds to lower. Tracking sensation. Notice if this side feels different. Whenever the leg lands, and feel the weight of the leg and let it go completely. And then when you're ready, again, we bring the leg up about mid-height. This time you might try to add that visual of the psoas lengthening. Inner upper thigh bone all the way to, let's say, lower mid-spine. Breathing freely. When the leg lands, just let it be. And then whenever it fits into your flow, we'll go one more time. Leg is about mid-height, externally rotated. This time we'll hover when we get just about a ½ inch off the ground. Notice what's engaging. And when the leg is nearly touching but not, pause, watching and listening inwardly. bring it up again, maybe halfway. And slowly lower. So as elongating as the leg approaches the ground. And then once the leg lands, slide the other leg out straight also. Notice any changes in your breathing. Maybe a big breath wave came through. Let's plant both feet again, hip width apart, heels relatively close to your sitting bones, and arms in cactus shape. So elbows are at 90 degrees. This strains your shoulders. You can take arms out to a T instead for our spinal undulation. So as you exhale, root the spine, root the back into the ground. Feel how your abdominals engage when you do that. And then rock toward the tailbone and make a little gap between lower spine and the floor. Maybe up into mid-spine eventually, following your breath, rooting, pressing, grounding the back on the exhale. And then inflate the belly, really expand horizontally below the navel with the inhales. Let's add a little head nod. So as you arch to your back bend, bring your chin toward your chest. And when you root through the lower spine, chin lifts away from the chest. Head is staying heavy on the ground. We're just sliding the back of the head. I like to always start kind of small or smaller with these movements and then gradually grow them larger. So we're easing in rather than forcing our way through. And at the end of the exhalation, now let's make that movement just a little bit bigger with the pelvis. So as you press the lower spine into the floor, just start to curl the tailbone and then maybe at most the sacrum off the ground. So we're in a little miniature bridge pose. Full breath in, really expanding, taking your time with the inhale. Feeling the spine move in toward the front plane of the body with the inhalation. About one more time. And then eventually bringing the head and the spine back to neutral. Let's keep the right foot planted and slide the left leg straight. That's it. And then arms can stay as they are, or you could take right arm to T and left arm alongside the body. It's our more typical setup for the unwinding movement, but maybe a little different is interesting with cactus arms. So we'll rock to the inner edge of the right foot to swing the knee across to the left and then come back to center. Repeat as you move to the inner edge of the foot, really push the inner edge of the foot into the ground. If you want to work a little harder, or if you're feeling compression in your lower spine, or if you just want to try something maybe slightly different, actively squeeze your right buttock muscle when the knee comes across the midline. You can also make this more of a back bend, so that spine moving into the front body, engaging the glute will help that. From here, at the end of that one, slide the right leg out straight, so both legs are straight. We'll stay focused on the right side here, sliding the right leg into tree pose or Baddha Konasana, and then sliding the right leg straight again. Let's just work that right side a handful more times. Imaginary weight on the right inner thigh, so the leg is heavy. Really working with gravity here. Often I see people plant the foot and then open the knee to the side. It's just not what we're doing this morning. Sliding, gliding, working with gravity. Maybe pausing at the end range. And now let's put this together with the previous movement. Still on just this right side. So we slide the leg to Baddha Konasana, it's like half butterfly, and then rock over to the inner edge of the foot. Push the inner edge of the foot into the ground. That kind of launches the knee a little further away from you. And then slide the inner edge of the foot along the ground. Eventually the leg is straight again. So this is our circular flow. Sliding leg into tree pose. Rock from outer edge of the foot to the inner edge of the foot. Then slide the inner edge of the foot along the ground. See if you can sense that circular flow inside your hip. So the ball rotating in the hip socket. And then the next time the right leg is straight, we'll let it stay straight and plant the left foot. So arms could still be in this cactus shape or left arm T, right arm alongside the body. Rock to the inner edge of the foot, push, dig the inner edge of the foot into the ground, and then come back, leg up to vertical. Experimenting with more back bend action, the spine moving in toward the front body. Maybe bringing the back bend a little more into the mid back to distribute that sensation. Really pushing the inner edge of the foot into the ground to kind of launch the knee across and away. And maybe squeezing left glute, left buttock muscles as the knee swings across. And the end of that one. And slide the left leg out straight. And then slide the outer edge of the foot along the ground, Baddha Konasana slide. And then simply slide the leg out straight again. Still just isolating this left side. Imaginary weight on the inner thigh. Going slow enough so you can notice the sensations as they're arising, rather than just kind of rushing through them. And now adding on the unwinding movement to create the circular flow. So we still start with the Baddha Konasana slide, like we're sliding the leg into a supine tree pose. And then rock over to the inner edge of the foot. And slide the inner edge of the foot along the ground until the leg is straight again. Sliding outer edge. Rocking to inner edge. You can still apply that push action, kind of digging inner edge of the foot into the ground as you re-extend. Feeling into the hip joint. Feeling or visualizing, imagining the ball of the femur, the thigh bone, rotating in the hip socket. And then the next time, one of these next times, the leg is straight. You can leave both legs straight. Notice what you notice. Let's plant both feet again. Bring the hands to your ASIS. These are the bony, more prominent hip points in the front of your body. Sense if you're level here. So notice if your pubic bone is higher than your ASIS. Let's try to level out here. So kind of uncurl. That's happening until the pubic bone and your two hip points are all on the same plane. Okay, and then you might want to kind of scoot the ribs away a little bit so you can lengthen out here without changing that level pelvis. Okay, and then bring your hands back to your ASIS and just apply a bit of downward pressure. Right hand into right hip. And then relax that side, left hand into left hip. Back to the right side, root down with your hand into the hip, and then just barely lift your left foot off the ground. Hold. Really replace the foot down, and now left hand pressing down on the left hip. Just barely lift your right foot off the ground, paying attention to what's arising. Release the foot, release the hand pressure, and bring your hands behind your head again. Second spinal undulation for our morning practice here, or afternoon. Rooting through the arm bones, whatever time it is for you. Arch to your back bend. This time we'll exhale and curl up. Root through the lower spine, curling up. Elbows together and toward the knees. Follow your breath here. So now the pelvis is tilting forward and back. These next few rounds, let's try to just work one side of the body. So not diagonal. Send both elbows kind of toward inner right knee. So just kind of working right side. Arching to your back bend. Press the arms down on the inhale, belly expanding. And then just working that left side. So both elbows toward left knee, but not across at this point. Let's alternate sides a couple more times here. Full breath in, long breath out. Now let's start to work the diagonal. So inhale is the same, we're expanding the front body, and then exhale, elbows to the outside of the knee or more toward the hip. Hands are at the base of the skull, not under the neck, not at the top of the head. Let's keep working the diagonal and reintroduce the head nod. Now it's inhale, chin rising away from the chest. Exhale, chin toward the chest. A couple more elements potentially to add here as you bring the elbows toward the knee. Bring the knee toward the elbows. Full breath in, really stretch the belly here. That's a bit of relief. And then the exhale, we're engaging the abdominals. So if you're bringing the knee and the elbows toward each other, then maybe you straighten the leg up toward the ceiling. Bend the knee, land the foot, land the head, root the arms. Inflate the belly, and then exhale, other side, elbows and knee in. Stretch the heel up toward the ceiling. Bend, land the foot. A couple more times each side. Intentionally rooting through the foot that's on the ground. Open the throat on the inhale. Compress the throat on the exhale. After your second side, whenever that is for you, let's release all together to Shavasana. Whole body breath. Whole body awareness. And now roll onto your belly, everybody. Hands stacked, forehead on the hands. Elbows are wide, so the shoulders can really be relaxed here. Tuck your toes under. See if you can kind of walk your toes a little more toward your knees. Head is down. And then push through one heel. And then push through the other heel. Alternating here, it's the same idea as our first movement, the up slip, down slip. So see if you can feel and encourage the hip to move away from the ribs as you drive through the heel. Okay, from here, we'll untuck the toes. And then bring your right leg out, knee out to the side in our supine tree shape. Head still down here. Slide your knee toward you so the hip hitches up toward the ceiling. And then slide your knee away from you back to where it started. So my foot's not moving at all. I'm simply sliding the knee toward me and sliding the knee away from me. A few more times. And then leaving the knee where it began so the hip isn't hitched up. Let's tuck the left toes under, your straight leg toes, tuck under. You can push through the heel, feel that hip move down away from the ribs. And then hold your elbows so you're propped up. Push back through the heel, drag the navel forward and up, and move your shoulder blades down away from your ears. The last few breaths here, if you want to work harder or just try something a little different than you might normally do, you can squeeze left buttock. See if that changes anything else. Okay, and then we'll untuck the toes. Keep the right leg as it is. Slide the elbows apart to stack your hands. Bring your forehead down to your hands. And then pick up just enough, your torso, head, so you can walk your upper body over to your right. So it's a side bend to the right. The right elbow approaches the right knee. You can rest your forehead or maybe your cheek down onto your hands. And then let's again tuck left toes under, push through the left heel, so you can get that left hip to down slip away from the left side of the rib cage. At this point, you might be able to slide your right knee a little further away from you. I just had some room open up. Elongating through the left side of the abdominals, left side of the lower belly. And again, maybe squeezing left buttock. Last few breaths here. You can keep the arms wide, or you can hold the elbows and maybe lift up. So we're in this tree pose, side bend, cobra variation or sphinx variation. Keep drawing the shoulders down. Squeeze left glute. Stretch left side of the belly. And then kind of unpack it lower down. You can slide the right leg straight. Walk the upper body back to center. Stack your hands, rest your head, rest your whole body. Okay, same inquiry, second side. We'll bring the left leg to Baddha Konasana. So the knee is bent out to the side, looks like tree pose. And then keep the foot still, slide the left knee toward you. Notice how the hip rises up toward the ceiling. It's like the butt pokes out. And then slide the knee away from you. Inner thigh gets closer to the floor. Go back and forth. Take your time. Notice what you notice. Now knee stays where it began, kind of further away from you. Tuck your right toes under. Take hold of your elbows and lift up. Navel forward and up. Shoulder blades down the back. You can be quite active through this right leg, maybe even squeezing the buttocks muscles. Feeling or visualizing this right side of the abdominals, right side of the lower belly lengthening. Lowering the upper body down, sliding the elbows apart, hands stack, forehead on hands. You can relax the right foot for a moment if you want. And then we'll add our side bend to the left. So the whole upper body kind of walks over to the left. So left elbow gets closer to left knee. Resting your head down. And let's again tuck right toes under. Push through the right heel. You can even kind of lift, pick up and stretch your right side of the navel more up toward the head side of your mat, the short edge of your mat. You can stay right here, or hands stay stacked, or holding elbows, rising up to this back bend variation. Keep moving the shoulders down, dragging the right side of the belly forward. Maybe squeezing right buttock. Lower down, unpack, straighten the back leg. Prone Shavasana. Now we'll tuck all 10 toes under. Take hold of the elbows, coming back to symmetry. Dragging the navel forward and up. Shoulder blades down the back. You can engage both glutes now, both buttocks. Really pressing the front of the pelvis, pressing the pubic bone into the ground. And then untuck the toes, bring your head down. Okay, from here, we'll roll onto your side. Let's roll onto the left side first. Arms out in front of you. Maybe putting a blanket underneath your head if your neck feels kind of wonky here. Arms out in front. Legs bent at 90 degrees, so knees are in line with hips. Ankles are in line with knees. Arms out in front of you, hands stacked. Okay, we're gonna do a little twisting here. So reaching, if you're on your left side, you're reaching your right arm up and bringing it back behind you. Don't force, just see where it wants to go. And then from here, try to keep your right fingertips on the ground and your arms straight as you circle, draw a circle around your head until you're back in the starting shape. Let's do that same movement a couple more times. So reaching the arm up, that's it. Opening to the twist, and then drawing a circle up around you to close. And now let's go the opposite. So we'll draw the circle up around the head to open into the twist. And then arm up toward the ceiling until the hands stack again. One more time on this side. And then you can just roll onto your right side or whatever your second side is. Arms out in front of you, stacked. Legs bent at 90 degrees. So the hips are bent at 90 degrees and the knees are as well. We'll open up, let the head go with the movement into the twist. And then try to keep fingers brushing the floor and arms straight as you draw the circle around till the hands stack again. When it fits into your flow, reverse, draw the circle on the floor around you, and then close the book. About one more time. At the end of that one, whenever it is for you, you can remove anything that's been supporting your head. Come onto your back. Take your time here. Straight legs, maybe legs together. Take hold of your elbows, arms up around your head, and stretch, stretch, stretch. Arms, legs, spine, feet are active, elbows reaching. And then let go into Shavasana. Check in again like we did in the beginning. Just kind of take a snapshot of how the body is on the ground. Notice your signature shape, your asymmetries. I'm going to zoom out and sense your body as a whole. And feel your breath in your body. Okay, let's come into child's pose. With the arms stretching forward. Head can be heavy on the ground. Try to move your outer shoulder blades more toward the ground, the shoulder blades broadening away from the spine. And then notice if that changed your connection through your hands into the floor, so you can spread the fingers, root evenly, especially through your knuckles and the bases of your thumbs. From here, let's rise to all fours. Spread the fingers, wrists are beneath the shoulders. You can shy the knees in a little bit, so a little bit forward of the hips. Really rooting through each finger. And kind of shifting weight a little more into knuckles and out of wrists. There's a little external rotation here, so we're dialing the inner elbow forward or outward. If you tend to be hypermobile, you'll want to do this less because you're probably already defaulting in doing it. If your elbows are bending, then you maybe want to do it a little bit more. So you got to decide what's going to be right for you. We want that little action, that little kind of corkscrew action that really helps us plug into the ground a bit more. And then there's just a little softness between the shoulder blades. So we're not really puffed up here, but we're also not sinking in. So we're kind of lifting up out of the shoulder blades and then just slightly softening. Okay, from here, we'll tuck the toes under. You can walk your hands forward a bit. If you've got blanket on your mat, sorry, you'll want to remove that. We're coming into down dog. Yep. Really feeling into feet and hands. Spread your toes. Broaden the shoulder blades away from the spine. And get that slight kind of corkscrew or external rotation that can be felt like in the ground through the hands. Looking at your feet, notice if one foot is turned out or in relative to the other. See if you can even out the feet. And then let's lift the toes if possible. Maybe it's just a thought or an attempt and nothing happens. But if you can lift the toes, then we're going to try to root the pinkies. The second toes, third toe, fourth toe, big toe. And from here, walk your hands back toward your feet. And you can bend your knees here as you come up to stand. Okay, we're coming into mountain pose. We're standing with the toes spread out wide. To delayer here. Toes spread wide, rooting through the four corners of your feet. Let's take a look down at the pelvis so we can make sure we're in neutral. So that same triangle we found when we were on our backs, you've got your two bony hip points in the front of the body and your pubic bone. So for some of us, we're like this, right? And the pubic bone is back relative to the hip points. And then that's more common usually. But then some folks are a little bit more like this, with the pubic bone forward relative to the hip points. So let's go for neutral. Your body might automatically do neutral, but still just good to kind of check out and see. Okay, and then oftentimes the ribs kind of come forward relative to the pelvis. We really want to stack the ribs over the pelvis. So you can kind of maybe bring your forefingers to the front of the rib cage and your thumbs around the back. And we kind of scoop here or direct the bottom of the rib cage down and the back of the rib cage a little more up. Okay, so from here, a little assist to be here. And just see what that feels like in your body. If it feels a little different. So it's like we're lengthening up through the back and kind of contracting a little or closing up a little in the front. And you can let your arms rest by your sides. Feel your breath in your body. And then we're coming into tree pose or vrikshasana. Let's see if we can maintain that level or neutral pelvis and that rib stacking over the pelvis. So weight shifting into the left leg. Sometimes I like to have my hands on my ribs because they really are rebellious here. Knee out to the side, foot coming up. You can help it up if you want. Spreading through your toes, really staying connected through the four corners of your feet. And then just take a look down and see if your pelvis changed. Yeah, so maybe the ASIS are kind of tipped forward again, and we want to level it out. Oftentimes we find balance in a not neutral pelvis, so it's going to screw everything up. Okay, and then also notice, especially when the arms come up, sometimes the ribs will flare forward. So we're just trying to decouple or separate the body parts so they can move independently. So you might take that rib, like big handful of ribs again, and see if you can direct the bottom of the rib cage down, even in, and the back of the rib cage up. Doesn't mean my shoulders are coming forward. See if you can find that. And then maybe hands stay at heart center or arms stretch overhead. See if you can breathe into the sides of the rib basket. And calmly bring the arms down and then the leg. Good. Pelvis is neutral. Ribs are stacked over the hips rather than forward of the hips. Second side for Vrikshasana, paying attention to what's staying on the ground before you lift the other leg. And then you can maybe take a peek down and make sure your pelvis is still neutral and that the ribs are over the pelvis, stacked. Holding that alignment and choosing your arm position. Release your arms and your leg. We're going to keep working with balance. So next we'll work with Garudasana or eagle pose. Softening the knees. Bringing the weight into the standing leg, really spreading the toes. Lifting. You could come into figure four if that's better for you, or wrap the leg and really squeeze the thighs together. Okay, maybe sitting down a little further. So now the hip points are forward of the pubic bone. You can bring the back of your head a little more back, in line with the back of the sacrum. Maybe extending your arms. You can bring your arms in eagle or hold the elbows. Shoulder blades are protracting, moving away from the spine. Be with your breath. Calmly rising to mountain. Second side. Soften the knees. As your hips go back, your torso can come forwards. We have this hinge action. Can come into figure four if that's better for you, or wrap the leg. Squeeze the legs together. Whenever you're ready, add your arm shape. Breathe into the back. Really spread your breath across your back. Calmly rising up to Tadasana, mountain pose. Okay, one more balance shape here. Might want your belt. Extended hand to big toe. Okay, so we'll start with the weight in the left leg. And you can take your belt around your right foot and extend the leg out in front. If you're able, take a look down at your pelvis. And notice if you're kind of tucking under. That's more likely than a pokey out butt here. But just sense if you can, maybe hands help. Neutral pelvis, ribs directly over the hips. So for a lot of us, they need to come back, right? They're like puffing forward, they need to come back. Crown of the head reaching up toward the ceiling. Spreading the toes, especially of the foot that's on the ground. And then we'll try to twist here. So you can switch, hold the belt with the opposite hand, hand to the hip. Twisting, if you've got your left leg up, you're twisting to the right. You could have knee bent. Could be more here. Lengthen through your spine with your inhale and rotate through the ribs around the spine or with the spine and exhale. Crown of the head skyward. And then gradually you can unwind and release down. Okay, whatever your second side is, we're really rooting, spreading the toes, connecting to the inner, outer, front, back of foot. Take the belt, if you're using one, and extend the leg out in front. Once you find some balance, maybe you can look down and or feel down and make sure that you're not tucking under now with the hip points behind the pubic bone. So really standing up tall, sensing if the ribs are forward. Bring them back to stack over the pelvis. Growing taller, focusing on the breath. And then we'll switch hands. You can keep hand on the hip, twisting. Some of you like to stretch through the arm, that's an option. Or knee is bent. Twisting the direction of the airborne leg. And then gradually releasing to mountain at the top of your mat. Let's bend the knees, chair pose. Hips shift back, arms alongside the ears. Plant your hands. Walk back to plank, upper push-up position. Spread through the fingers. Get that little bit of an outward dial of your arm bones. Pushing back through the heels. A little softening between the shoulder blades. Unless it's really hard for you to protract, if that's your work, then that's your focus. But if you feel like you've got a firm grip on that, or firm understanding and feeling, you can soften a little bit between the shoulder blades. Crown of the head reaching forward, so gaze is down, just a little bit forward. We don't want to drop the head and look back at the feet. And then from here, slowly lowering down onto your belly. Let's bring arms alongside the body, palms down. Tuck your toes under. Walk your toes toward your knees. Push out through your heels. Sink the front of the pelvis into the ground. Really root there. And then lift head and chest up. You can kind of creep walk the hands back a little bit. And draw the shoulder blades toward the spine. Let's lower down, resting your forehead or one cheek. Again, tuck toes under. Drive through your heels. Root the front of your pelvis down. Lift head and chest. We're in Shalabhasana, locust pose. Reach the arms back and maybe lift the arms up. Lift the hands up off the ground. Palms are facing down, thumbs point out. And then see if you can just rotate so the palms face out and the thumbs point up. So this should cause the front of the shoulders to lift away from the ground. A lot of people turn palms out, thumbs down. The fronts of the shoulders were dropped toward the floor. I want to go the other way. Lower to rest. Last round of locust. Tuck the toes under. Interlace your hands behind you. If that doesn't work for you, you can use your belt and walk the hands as close together as you can. If it's available, we interlace the fingers, draw the elbows toward each other, so the shoulder blades move toward each other, and then reach the arms back as you lift up through chest and head. Sink the pelvis down, pubic bone pressing in. Buttocks muscles engaged. And then as you lower down, you can tuck one arm underneath you and roll onto your back again. Let's have block handy. Okay, we're gonna do bridge, but we're gonna do bridge differently than traditional yoga. So rather than having feet under the knees, walk the feet forward so there's a more open angle. Like there's at least a block the long way between your sitting bones and your feet, but it could be more. And feet are about hips width apart. Let's place the block on the medium setting, the medium width, between the thighs, just below the knees. Okay, so attention to how your feet are on the ground. Spread the toes. Try to press the feet into the floor. And already you can be squeezing the block. Not everything you've got, but just at least a little engagement, squeezing the block. Let's become aware of that triangle we've been orienting to. So you can take a look and feel. We want the pubic bone at the same height as your hip points. So more commonly, the pubic bone will be up. So you kind of uncurl the tailbone, send the pubic bone away, and find that level triangle. Squeeze the block, rooting the feet. It might feel quite different. It's probably supposed to. And then again, we're gonna bring the hands to the ribs, so the four fingers in front, thumbs wrapping around the back, and kind of pick up the back of the rib cage with your thumbs and try to lengthen. It's like you're moving the back of the rib cage up toward your head. So we're lengthening out here. It's gonna cause the ribs to move down a little bit. Okay, check out if your pelvis changed in that process. And then squeeze the block, root the feet, keep the triangle table. So we're not gonna tuck under here, and lift the pelvis just about a fist's width off the ground. So gotta keep checking your tailbone because it's gonna wanna tuck under. Squeeze the block. Try squeezing your buttocks. Might have to bring a hand down there to see what's happening. Sometimes one fires more than the other. So try to squeeze the block, squeeze your buttocks muscles. Pelvis is neutral. And then from here, without moving the pelvis, we'll straighten one leg and bring the foot back down. Alternating. Try to move nothing but the hinge of the knee. So there can be this kind of wobble side to side. Trying not to let that happen. I like to keep my hands on my pelvis, just kind of keep me honest. And keep me remembering what I want to focus on. One more time each side. And then roll through your spine. Try to articulate one vertebra at a time coming down. Let's take the block out. And just windshield wiper legs side to side. Okay, coming back to center. Let's do block narrow between the knees. Feet are still further away from you than your knees. So we've got that more open angle. Block right between the knees. Level pelvis. And we'll lift up again, just about a fist's height. Keeping the level pelvis. Squeeze the block. And then just barely lift one foot off the ground. And then see if you can send the foot out to the side. So internal rotation. Foot back in. Let's just work that one side a few times. So the foot is swinging out. Keep watching your pelvis. Rib cage. Ribs are moving in toward each other. It's kind of like inward toward the midline movement. The pelvis is not shifting. One more time on this side. And then you can put the foot down. Triple, quadruple check. Your pelvis is level. Squeeze the block. The foot that's on the ground is really rooting intentionally. Lift the foot so it just clears the floor. And then send the foot out to the side. Pelvis is quiet. Foot might not get very far. Two sides are probably very different. One or two more times. And then you can put the foot down and really roll through the spine. So now you have to tuck under to articulate the spine. We'll take the block out. Drop both knees over to the right. Really push the inner edge of your left foot into the ground and stretch left arm alongside the ear. You can engage this left glute. Breathe in to the left side of the lower back. Pushing the left foot down. Bring the left arm down, legs through center. Drop the knees over to your left. Really push, dig, inner edge of right foot into the ground and activate right buttock muscle. Right arm alongside the ear. Breathing in, really inflate. Right lower back, right side of the rib cage. Okay, and then coming back to center, stretch the legs out. And close your eyes, Shavasana. Let it all go here and just rest. Come back into the river of breath. And come back into awareness of your body. Sacred vessel for life's journey. When you're ready, you can rise gently up to a seat. So today's mudra is Adhi Mudra, A-D-H-I. We tuck the thumbs in and wrap the fingers around, and then you'll rest your hands, palms down, on your thighs comfortably. So Adhi Mudra is another grounding mudra where we've been working once a week with any mudras that are helpful to bolster this Muladhara chakra, grounding. You can just let your shoulders relax. Maybe it feels silly. Maybe you feel this kind of energy hookup. Maybe you don't feel anything. You might like to focus on an affirmation that we could associate with Adi Mudra. I rest in the calm of inner balance and support. I rest in the calm of inner balance and support. I rest in the calm of inner balance and support. And then whenever you're ready, you can bring hands, palms together, Anjali Mudra, hands in prayer at heart center, bowing head to heart and hands. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.